Kaiju! There! Right there! Now that the rain stopped and the clouds are gone, we can see her!
That's good.
It's one thing to get run over by a car, but it'll be too embarrassing to say I got run over by an airplane! Thank you, everyone. Usagi!
What's up everyone, Kaiju no Kami here, and tonight I'm going to be reviewing the third iteration of Sailor Moon's Dark Kingdom arc, this time in live action form, simply known as Pretty Guardian Sailor Moon. Pretty Guardian Sailor Moon was a live action adaptation Toei released in 2003 under the control of Gingaman and Timeranger writer Yasuko Kobayashi. Kobayashi took elements from both the manga and anime series for her adaptation, such as the story where Tuxedo Mask reveals the existence of the Silver Crystal to all of Japan via television while stating that its edges should shine like a rainbow.
怪盗タキシード仮面の声明文によりますと、光を反射して虹色に輝くそうなんですが、こちらがスタッフの想像図です。
That's a nice little nod to the Rainbow Crystal arc from the anime. Regrettably, the show didn't do well enough to warrant covering the entire series for a second time, so this version is solely the Dark Kingdom arc. Before I begin, I'm going to stress that I am actually going to assume you have either seen the anime series or have seen my reviews to know who these characters are, because this is the third version of these characters and their introductions, so I'm going to focus more on what's different about them compared to the other series rather than the traits that carry over. Why, do you ask? Well, simply because there's only so many ways you can compare Usagi as being a selfish, kind-hearted dimwit before it gets repetitious.
でも、なんでヴィーナスが？
自分のライブだからだろ。まさか。
え？
知らなかったのか？
The Heroes. Our heroes are Usagi Tsukino,
セーラームーン、
Ami Mizuno,
セーラーマーキュリー、
Reihina,
セーラーマーズ、
Makoto Kino,
セーラージュピター、
Minako Aino,
セーラーヴィーナス。
and Mamoru Chiba.
タキシード仮面。
They are played by Miyu Sawai, Rika Izumi, Keiko Kitagawa, Miu Azuma, and Joji Shibu. You may recognize Izumi as Gaim's sister in Kamen Rider Gaim, and Shubue, who played Ibuki in Kamen Rider Hibiki. Oh, and Kitagawa was in Fast and the Furious Tokyo Drift. Luna is voiced by her original anime voice actress Keiko Han.
いいけど、タキシード仮面が敵ってこと忘れちゃダメよ。
While Artemis is voiced by One Piece's Usopp Kappei Yamaguchi.
一日早いけど、バレンタインのチョコ。ありがとう。嘘、こっちが本物。
Not a One Piece fan? Well, he is also the voice of Inuyasha, L in Death Note, along with voicing the conductor's puppet in Tokuger. Our story begins, of course, with Luna savagely attacking Usagi.
何これ？見えない。
Yes, you saw that right. In this version, Luna takes on the form of a plush. It's kind of silly, but from a budget standpoint, it does make sense.
No, what the heck, I'll laugh anyway.
She gives Usagi the ability to transform into Sailor Moon, kicking off our adventure. This time though, her tiara boomerang is nothing more than a standard attack, while the moonstick is what she uses right from the get-go to destroy monsters. Additionally, this version falls in love with Mamoru early on in the show, only to get extremely depressed when she comes to discover he has a fiancé. Of course, as we all know, the two have been destined to be together based on their past lives as Princess Serenity and Prince Endymion. Ugh, stairs. The worst enemy of leg day. Speaking of Mamoru, as with the original anime series, he is a college student here rather than a high school student like in the manga and in Crystal. Only difference this time around is that everyone is told to stop the two being together, as it is supposed to bring doom to the world if they do go out with each other. Which brings me to one other big revelation here. After Usagi's memories are restored, we come to learn that it was Princess Serenity who took up the role Sailor Saturn had in the manga, as she was the one responsible for destroying the Moon Kingdom and Earth all those thousands of years ago. Moreover, Princess Serenity acts as a split personality to Usagi. Princess Serenity? There's nothing serene about her. Her name should be Princess Ruthless, Mass-Murdering, Selfish Bitchface. Damn! It was an interesting idea. Ultimately, though, the writers clearly had no idea how to execute it, as it comes out feeling half-assed. Lastly, let me not forget that this version of Usagi cannot keep a secret very well.
やっぱり自分で取り返す。
どうやって？
そりゃあセーラームーンに変身。
That is pretty funny. From here we have singer by day, superhero by night, Minako.
うさぎちゃんへってお願いします。あいうえおのうに、さしすせそのさに。ひらがなね。
Like in the manga, Minako pretends to be the Moon Princess in order to keep Usagi protected from the Dark Kingdom. What is new aside from being an idol is that Minako is dying from a brain tumor.
It's not a tumor.
True, as they don't exactly tell us what she is dying from. Either way, this drives her to be reckless in the face of danger, as she has nothing to truly lose. Of course, that doesn't make her interesting either, because she is as one-dimensional as they can get, since her entire purpose is to say, we have to follow the mission we were given in our past lives, and that is it. Nothing more, nothing less. Rei feels a lot closer to her anime counterpart, as she will get angry with Usagi from time to time.
ウサギ、自分の失敗は自分で取り返さなきゃ。すぐ人に頼るのは良くないわよ。
On the other hand, she begins the show with extreme social anxiety, not wanting to be friends with either Usagi or Ami, as she feels no one is worth trusting.
戦士になるのと仲間になるのは全然別よ。
なんで仲間が嫌なわけ？
私はずっと一人でやってきたし、その方が気が楽なの。
This comes from the fact that her deadbeat dad is a political figure who only uses her to improve his public image. He was also too busy with work to even bother visiting his dying wife in the hospital.
私のことを見捨てたくせに。ママの時だってママを一人にして一番いてほしい時にいてあげないで。
Naturally, she eventually learns to open up to her fellow cohorts. Next up is Makoto, who is probably the most wooden of all the 5 girls. It's kind of depressing that my favorite guardian of the original 5 is reduced to being my least favorite in this show. She just isn't all that interesting here. She is still strong, abrasive, and is always thinking about her friends. Nevertheless, that's all there really is to her character.
私、分かったよ。一人になること、風を聞くこと。 全部前世から決められてた。
She does have some moments of development with Motoki, who seems to be the only employee for Crown's karaoke bar. Additionally, this version of Motoki is also shy, as he only feels comfortable talking to his pet turtle. Turtle? Kenny? Kenny, is that you?
実は俺、本当は気になってたんだけど、ひなちゃんの親父さん、お前を引き取って育ててくれた恩人だし、
You might also recognize his actor as Masaya Kikawada, played Ichigo in the Kamen Rider the first movie. The star of the Guardians in this show is hands down Ami. Not only does she feel like she has the most character growth throughout, but she is also the central character to the show's highlight arc. Kunzai kidnaps Ami and turns her evil, creating Dark Mercury. This evil personification of Ami is kind of ruthless, as she brainwashes her entire class to oust Usagi of friends with great finesse.
学校は休みたくないからちょっと居心地よくさせてもらったの。学校で戦う気はないけど油断はしないでね。
It is an interesting concept to take the series' shy character, though being shy doesn't seem all that special at this point given how many of these characters in this show are written that way, and turn her into a savage beast for several episodes. Oh, and Ami has some weird taste in clothing. In addition to Dark Mercury, Luna is given a human form, that of a child deemed Sailor Luna. Sailor Luna is...
想像もつかないと思うけど、実は私は私の正体は私の正体は
Well... Adorable! That's about it. She feels more like a gimmick to attract children due to lackluster toy sales. The friends and family of our characters vary in quality. We do get some good scenes with Usagi's mom, who is a complete weirdo here.
ところでタキシード仮面なんですが十分お気をつけください。やだ、隠さなくちゃ。まさに大騒ぎ。
Shingo rarely appears, and Usagi's dad only exists through discussions and phone calls.
ウサギ、早く食べちゃってよ。は
ーい。何やってんだか。
Umino does not exist in this universe either. Fortunately, there are some really great moments with Naru.
で、時々さーっと来て、さーっといなくなっちゃうから。
どういう人なのそれ。
だからわかんないんだって。
何を聞けばいいじゃん。さーっと来た時にさーって。
Especially when it comes to dealing with Ami, as the two quarrel for Usagi's attention early on in the show.
じゃあやりますか。
Finally, we also get to see Ami's mom for once.
話せないときは伝言板に書く。それがルールだったわよね。
The villains. This show features the most mundane versions of the Dark Kingdom yet. None of the villains are the least bit interesting. It doesn't help that they are so pathetically weak. They will get hit with a simple blast and call it a night. What kind of villain are you? That's it? That's all it takes to beat you? A toddler with a rattle could beat you if they just threw that at you. The worst of the bunch ends up being Nephrite, who not only is so inept at his job that he gets tricked by Sailor Venus many times over, but he is so poorly acted. What is strange though is actor Hiroyuki Matsumoto did a fine job as Gamel in Kamen Rider O's. It also doesn't help that the villains meander around for 3/4 of the series doing absolutely nothing.
我らマスターと共にあるべきだ。違うな。 前世ある限り全ては繰り返す。その前に私が終わらせる。軍隊とお前は出ていけ。私は前世を思い出す。
The most interesting of the group is by far Zoisite, as early on he comes to remember that they were under the leadership of Prince Endymion and is constantly striving to restore Mamoru's memories while defying Barrow. Though, most of his time is spent playing the only song Japan seems to know how to play on a piano.
かつてエンディミオンと呼ばれていた頃。
俺が？お前は誰なんだ？
エボルト。またイスルギ総一の体に憑依したのか？
しかしベリル様のことも。私が迷いの元を断ち切ってきてやる。
This Barrow has got to be the most forgiving iteration of the character ever. She will repeatedly accept her minions' apologies for failures 40 times over without repercussions. She doesn't even do anything to Zoisite nor Kunzite when they deliberately disobey her orders for their own objectives. They did at least keep her true to her manga origins with her unrequited love for Prince Endymion, so that's something.
誰？覚えておらぬか。そうだな。
There's also a girl named Mio Keroppi, played by Alyssa Dubrow, whom Garo fans may remember as Zero's love interest during the flashback scenes of the first season. Aside from being a rival idol to Minako, she's a manipulative little stinker who constantly tries to alienate Usagi from her friends for reasons I will not go into due to spoilers.
そうね。でも私はそうじゃないから。二度とあの子に変なことしないで。
Just know that you will want to punch her in her stupid, annoying face. As with the original anime, this show does feature the traditional monsters of the week, though all of the monsters here are pretty bland as far as personalities go. And by that, I mean they have no personality whatsoever. Every monster is pretty much just a mindless creature that growls or has some type of sound effect it makes. Not to mention their names are quite forgettable. It also doesn't help matters as some of them look the same. I guess if anything, I do like this dude that sounds like a Mega Man boss.
逃げても無駄よ。およー。およー。およー。およー。
The cactus monsters were pretty cool though. I most certainly loved how the music would stop at times during the fight. I'm also certain Gingaman and Power Ranger fans will recognize these dudes that pop up from time to time in the second half of the series. Overall though, the monsters are lame. Probably the worst monsters of the week in Toku history. The effects and music.
Whoa! Dude, that's creepy.
The effects! Let's talk about the music first. Godzilla fans may have a sense of familiarity with the show's soundtrack as it was done by Michiru Oshima. She worked on the trio of Tezuka films along with the score for the first Fullmetal Alchemist series. Her music here is just as solid as it was there, and it's probably the best thing about this show as it tends to elevate the lackluster fight choreography. Provided you can even consider just twirling around like an idiot fight choreography to make the fights seem more action-packed than they actually are.
And always twirling, twirling, twirling towards freedom.
Most of the tracks are successful at garnering the emotions of a dramatic scene, be it for a moment of heartbreak, to a moment of intrigue.
お前
一緒に来て。守君の大事な。
The opening theme, Glittering Sailor Dream, which was written by Sailor Moon creator Naoko Takeuchi, composed by Hitoshi Haba, and sung by Sai, is a solid theme that sets up the show's overall themes. There is no ending theme to speak of. The episode... Oh! Sorry, I forgot to talk about the effects. They're a thing, I guess. Seriously though, this show's effects have not aged well in the slightest. I already talked about the abysmal attempt at fight choreography, which boils down to the monster most likely losing due to all the blood loss and the constant sight of the Guardian's underwear.
Moon underwear execution!
Adding to that is some truly epically awful CGI. Take Luna and Artemis for example. In this show they take on the form of plushes, which makes sense from a budgeting standpoint. It would be hard to always have CGI cats in a show on this type of budget. I get that. However, they do at times animate them as if they were living cats, which is extremely jarring. It looks like someone poorly photoshopped PlayStation 2 graphics into this show. It's awful. There are even times when they will go back and forth between plush and CGI for one scene, which makes it even worse.
大変なことになったな。
ごめんなさい、私がいながら。
怒ってしまったことは仕方がない。
Even the attacks don't come off much better, especially Jupiter's. Then we have those awful tambourine weapons.
You're not even trying anymore, are you?
Random helicopter sound effects. And mic problems.
フライト気をつけないとプリンセスのこともあいつに先を越されるぞ。バカ。奴に何ができる？
Regardless, the production team clearly did the best they could with the materials they had at their disposal, so I can't dismiss them on that end one bit. It's nice to see them try and fail, then not try at all. Speaking of giving credit where credit is due, I need to talk about the Sailor Guardian uniforms. Sure, they can look silly at times, especially the wigs, however, it does help make the characters look like entirely different people. As such, it makes sense as to why no one would recognize them. Just look at Mercury. She looks like an entirely different person transformed than she does every other time. Not to mention her Dark Mercury outfit is pretty awesome looking. The episodes. For the most part, the episodes are fairly entertaining, despite sometimes laying on the drama a little too thick. There's definitely some truly outstanding episodes and superb moments sprinkled throughout the show, even if it does take it too far at times. One of my favorites included a two-parter that featured Rei and Ami dealing with parental issues. It's also nice from time to time when we do get an occasional episode of the Guardians just being kids, especially with Venus as she rarely interacts with the entire cast at one time. Of course, that doesn't mean it's all good, as sometimes there are strong episodes hindered by a monster that randomly shows up. For example, there's one episode where Rei has everyone believe they are on a game show with Minako, and nearly 18 minutes of the episode is just full of the girls doing fun stuff. On their way home afterwards, a monster just randomly shows up and we have a quick 45-second fight sequence. Why? Because it's a Toku series, silly. There has to be a monster fight in it. That's just a no-brainer. That would be like having a Sentai episode without the Rangers ever transforming in one episode. It just doesn't exist. Oh. God damn it, Toei! I really loved it when you experimented with your series. While I'm not trying to compare the show to the first anime incarnation, that show knew how to balance the monster subplots together with the episode's main plot to provide a cohesive story that made sense. Here, they don't even feel related to each other at times. With that in mind, my favorite episode is Act 22. This is the second episode of the Dark Mercury arc, so the characters have to deal with the revelation that Amy has gone bad. It has one of the better monsters of the week who leads our characters into an atmospheric dark room of fog. Additionally, it's where Usagi has to confront the fact that Amy is now evil, who shows this by doing the worst thing imaginable. Well, what does she do? I'm on the edge of my seat here. Does she kick a cat? Does she kill a puppy? What is it? What does she do? Does she send one of her friends to the hospital? Mittens. Oh yeah, she's totally evil now. Ooh, she cut some mittens. Oh yeah, you're totally rolling in the evil brotherhood now. What did this lead to? The Tears of Healing trope. Nevertheless, it's a pretty solid episode all around and gave us an unexpected version of Mercury we never thought we would ever see.
Live fast, die young, bad girls do it well. Live fast, die young, bad girls do it well. Live fast, die young, bad girls do it well. Live fast, die young, bad girls do it well.
As for the worst episode, that honor goes to a goddamn clip show. Right after Usagi has her Serenity persona take over, she disappears. We then have a discussion of the mind where Usagi talks to Serenity about her adventures over the last 37 episodes.
そりゃ最初はいまいちだったけど。
ごめんなさい。
From there, Mamoru also reflects on what he has experienced over the course of the series too. The worst part though, unlike other clip shows, this one has segments that are important to the show, one that actually does something with a fallen Nephrite and Matoki.
触るな！人間の分際で！何言ってんの？やめろって！
Aw, this is the start of a beautiful friendship. It's just a shame that nothing's gonna come out of this plot. Which brings me to my final complaint. The pacing is all over the place. It initially rushes itself to bring us all 5 Guardians only for the plot to come to a screeching halt for the next 40 episodes before cramming way too much into the final 2 episodes. I have no idea why they felt the need to make this show 49 episodes long, but they did despite clearly not having enough material to work with. The whole series could have been told in 30 episodes, if not less than that. When you have characters just standing around doing nothing for 10 episodes straight, there is a problem. It also doesn't help that there are plot lines that never get resolved in its 49 episode run, as if the show was cut short. The specials. After its run, Toei developed 2 direct-to-video specials. The first was simply titled Special Act, which takes place 4 years after the show's finale. Thus, I can't really go into plot details without spoiling the ending of the series. Just know that this is actually a fun climax that feels more like a finale than the final episode did, as our Guardians have to take on evil clowns. A pretty awesome monster duo. And the root of all evil.
Feed me, Seymour, feed me all night long. Cause if you feed me, Seymour, I can grow up big and strong.
Just don't go in expecting an epic final showdown like we got with every anime season of the classic series. The music is pretty cool too, as is the outfit you're about to see. The second story, Act Zero, is a prequel that features Minako becoming Sailor V after Artemis crash lands on her face. This story is just downright dreadful. It features the worst Sailor Moon villain in history.
Okay.
I was waiting the entire time to see him waltz into an art museum playing a Prince song on his boombox.
Oh, hey, the new king in town. Young and old, gather round.
Furthermore, the Four Kings actors play a quartet of extremely incompetent police officers. Adding to that, you would think, given that the foot soldiers to the special's boss is just a trio of regular women, we would finally get a good fight sequence. But nope. I can't even think of what I want to say in response to this. Help me out, Gargantuan lady.
The words get stuck in my throat.
Not surprised. In the end, Pretty Guardian Sailor Moon had a lot of fascinating ideas that was hindered by the show's poor budget. The lackluster villains, rugged pacing, and laughable attempt at fight sequences did not help matters either. As such, I have no choice but to give Pretty Guardian Sailor Moon an average 3 out of 5 grown-ups in spandex. The show's highs are really high, and its lows are really low. Despite the negatives, I do think that if you are a Toku fan or a Sailor Moon fan, you should at least give this show one shot. Not one episode, but one viewing of the entire series. You might find something in it that will take you by surprise, that you will like. Yeah, there's probably going to be things you dislike, but I do think it is worth checking out and seeing for yourself. If you've never been a fan of Sailor Moon or Toku, then I'm not even sure why you're watching this review other than to see the awesomeness that I am. Whatever is the case, until next time, bye.